It is a harsh picture. Brown lawns, desiccated trees, barren, dusty hills. But for California residents, it is also a painfully familiar one.
It's pretty terrible. Every time we get rain for even a whole day it rains, within like an hour of the sun being out, the ground is soaked up all the water. It's so clear that our California's just earth, the dirt is just so thirsty.
For California residents, droughts are an all too common occurrence. In fact, it almost feels like every year we're warned of a dry period either happening or about to happen. So just how severe is this drought, and what can be done? Here are some basic facts. The current drought is being billed as the driest period in the state's recorded rainfall history. That means that this is the worst drought California has had in 1,200 years. This isn't the only history California is making. In April, Governor Jerry Brown announced the state's first ever mandatory water restrictions, which requires cities and towns to reduce their water use by 25%. However, Governor Brown's announcement has been met with opposition from law enforcement, environmentalists, activists, and residents alike. So if it's not residents that are using up all of California's water, then what is? It's agriculture. Although many Californians think that population growth is the main driver of water demand statewide, in an average year, farmers use 80% of the water consumed by people and businesses. 34 million of 43 million acre-feet diverted from rivers, lakes, and groundwater. Some crops in particular have made headlines for their water usage. The almond has drawn a lot of ire from how much water it needs. It takes nearly 5 gallons to produce a single nut. With millions of acres of farmland currently in use, and California's population growing more each day, people are questioning just how much water California currently has left, and how long it will last. To do that, scientists use the Palmer Drought Severity Index, which measures soil moisture as it compares to what is normal for a particular region. What they found is that the soil moisture has fallen to its lowest level for any 3-year period on record. Pretty severe. Most worrying, however, are the reservoir levels, which are all dipping far past their average. Lake Shasta and Lake Oroville, two of the largest California reservoirs, are currently at half their average. So how much water does California have left? It's hard to say. Some scientists say California's reservoirs will be depleted in less than a year. That's scary to think about when groundwater makes up for 60% of California's supply. But other scientists claim that the situation isn't as dire and that there are decades worth of groundwater and underground water reserves to tap into if the situation becomes more dire. Despite conflicting reports, all scientists agree that California residents need to step up their conservation efforts. Despite the restrictions set in place by Governor Brown, Californians are conserving far less water than they were just a year ago, with just 9% of water being saved compared to the 22% conserved a year ago. Not to mention that there are other factors that are making the drought so severe. For instance, the heat. Last year, California experienced its warmest year on record since the 19th century. And the heat has given residents a need to cool off, with bottled water consumption at an all-time high. The exact severity of California's situation ultimately depends on a variety of factors, but no matter what you look at, the results aren't good. Precipitation, soil moisture, runoff, reservoir levels, and other metrics all offer different views of the drought, but they all come to the same conclusion. California is running out of water fast.